Today is Monday, June 2, 2014, the 153rd day of the year. There are 212 days remaining until the end of 2014. Sunrise this morning was at 5:12 a.m. The sun will set at 8:27 p.m. Length of daylight hours today will be 15 hours, 14 minutes of visible light, 16 hours, 24 minutes. Tomorrow's daylight will persist 1 minute, 12 seconds longer than today. The waxing crescent moon, 4 days old with 20% illumination, rose at 9:42 a.m. and will set at 11:48 p.m. The moon passes today above Rutland City at 251,874 miles distant from the center of planet Earth, appearing within the fifth zodiacal designation, Leo, the Lion. Under clear skies in downtown Rutland, expect mostly sunny skies today with a high temperature of 82 degrees on the Fahrenheit scale. Precipitation expectations 0, with light winds south-southwest 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy skies, low 59 degrees, winds south-southeast 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance precipitation will rise overnight to 10%. Tuesday, skies will be partly cloudy in the morning hours. Thunderstorms are likely in the afternoon. There's an 80% chance. High temperature around 82 degrees tomorrow, and south-southeast winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Pollen count today is moderate to high, 8 out of 12. Humidity is high today, rising up to around 95%. UV level is safe, 0 out of 16. Air quality is so good. Highest temperature in the contiguous United States on Sunday is 109 degrees at Death Valley in the Golden State, California. The lowest temperature is 23 degrees at Boca Reservoir near Truckee, north of Lake Tahoe in Northern California. Gospel and the blues are really, if you break it down, almost the same thing. It's just a question of whether you're talking about a woman or God. Ray Charles. On this day in 1835 is traditionally acknowledged as the day Phineas Taylor P.T. Barnum, American showman and large-scale prevaricator, embarks on tour with his first circus, the principal exhibit of which is the blind and paralyzed slave woman Joyce Heth, whom Barnum claims is George Washington's wet nurse. Barnum claims the woman to be more than 160 years old. Barnum is not the first to exhibit Joyce Heth as Washington's nurse. In 1835, she's held as a slave in Kentucky by John S. Bowling. In June of that year, she's sold to promoters R.W. Lindsay and Coley Bartram. It's Lindsay who first introduces her as Washington's nurse, but he can't convince anyone of the veracity of that claim, so he sells her to Barnum, who's the far greater liar. Barnum takes the art of the lie, or to be ever so slightly more genteel, the hoax, to a grand scale rarely before seen in the history of humankind. A poster advertising Joyce Heth's appearance in Barnum's Hotel in Bridgeport, Connecticut claims that she's born in 1674, which makes her 161 years old in 1835. Although a near-complete paralytic, Joyce Heth speaks and moves her right arm a little. She says she's the first person to put clothes on the infant father of our country, and she suckles him at her own breast. She tells stories about little George to paying customers, and she sings a hymn. That's the show. Barnum takes her on the road on this day in 1836 and pulls in $1,500 a week. Quite a chunk of change in 1835. Not quite satisfied with the ridiculous level of exploitation to which he's ascended, when she dies in February 1836, Barnum hires a surgeon, Dr. David L. Rogers, and stages a public autopsy at New York's City Saloon, charging 50 cents a head to witness the operation. 1,500 spectators crowd the venue to take in the show. Passed along this way, Ellis Otha Bates, also known as Ellis McDaniel, and Bo Diddley, bluesman, rocker, dies on this date in 2008 at the age of 79. The originator, so-called because of the transition he makes from the blues to rhythm and blues to rock and roll and rock music. His signature 5-beat Afro-Cuban rhythmic pattern is broadly influential on succeeding generations of musicians. On May 12, 2007, before starting a show in Council Bluffs, Iowa, he complains that he doesn't feel all right. He talks about smoke from wildfires in southern Georgia blowing toward his home in Archer, Florida. The show in Council Bluffs is remembered as epic. Bo Diddley. At the airport on his way home, he's dazed and confused. He's taken to the intensive care unit at Creighton University Medical Center in Omaha, where it's confirmed he's suffered a stroke. The stroke is followed at the end of August 2007 by a heart attack in Gainesville, Florida. Bo Diddley dies of heart failure at his home in Archer, Florida on this day in 2008. When the gospel tune Walk Around Heaven is sung at his bedside, he says, "Wow," and raises his thumb in approval. Bo Diddley says, I'm going to heaven. Wikipedia says a Bo Diddley is a one-string musical instrument typically found on the coast of West Africa. The American slang phrase Bo Diddley, meaning absolutely nothing, goes back to the early 20th century or earlier. Diddley is a shortening of diddly squat, having the same meaning. That is, nothing, as in, you don't know diddly. Newser.com reports the makers of the food substitute, unfortunately called Soylent, say their product takes the stress out of trying to eat well by simplifying the process. Just drink the stuff, get all the nutrients you need, and skip actual food entirely. Farhad Manjoo of the New York Times gave it a shot, but found it to be utterly joyless. Soylent may offer complete nourishment, he writes, but only at the expense of the aesthetic and emotional pleasures many of us crave in food. And the jury's still out on those health claims, but studies are underway. Manjoo describes Soylent as being like gritty, thinned-down pancake batter, inoffensive and dull, and is skeptical the masses will take to it. Soylent's creators have forgotten the basic ingredient found in successful tech products, not to mention in most foods, writes Manjoo. That ingredient is delight. For an opposing view, see Lee Hutchinson at Ars Technica, who has boxes of the stuff at home. He gets the point made by Manjoo and others, but not every meal needs to be a festive, life-affirming display of cultural pageantry. Sometimes you're busy, and that's where Soylent works. Replacing all your meals with Soylent may be overkill, he writes. As with all things, moderation is the key. This is today's Weather Minute. I'm Richard Alcott.